There is a generation that grew up before machines were smart enough to understand people, yet came of age just as technology began to change everything. They remember the first personal computers, the hum of old televisions, the sound of a keyboard that didn't forgive mistakes. If you're curious about why some people are quiet but incredibly resilient, stay with this video. And if you enjoy thoughtful stories like this, consider subscribing so we can keep exploring them together. The 1980s were a turning point. For the first time, machines entered our homes, not as background tools, but as personal companions. Personal computers appeared in living rooms. Video games, VCRs, and cable TV became common. Everything felt new, exciting, and unreliable. Technology back then didn't replace human effort. It demanded patience, and the people growing up in that era learned how to adapt without instructions. Self-reliant, adaptive, and untaught. There were no tutorials, no instant answers, no one to ask the internet. When something broke, they figured it out. When something failed, they tried again. Slowly, quietly, they learned one powerful lesson. Understanding takes time. This shaped a generation that doesn't panic when things go wrong, isn't afraid of trial and error, but often struggles to ask for help. If any of this feels familiar, if you're quietly nodding along right now, maybe you were that kid who learned to figure things out alone. Maybe you became strong before anyone ever asked how you were feeling. If so, you're not strange. You're not broken. And you're definitely not alone. And if these kinds of reflections speak to you, subscribe to the channel. This is a place for people who grew up learning to be resilient and are finally giving themselves permission to slow down. Using technology without trusting it completely, early machines crashed, froze, failed at the worst moments. So this generation learned something rare. Don't depend entirely on tools. Depend on yourself. They tend to always have a backup plan. Trust. Experience over promises. Stay grounded, even in a digital world. Technology is useful, but it doesn't define who they are. Deep nostalgia, because they witnessed disappearance. They watched cassette tapes vanish. Typewriters disappear. Devices once considered advanced become obsolete. Because of this, they understand something deeply. Nothing lasts forever. This makes them emotionally attached to memories, sentimental about small things, quietly moved by sounds, objects, and moments from the past are. Nostalgia isn't escape, it's preservation. Growing up in a slower world makes today's speed feel overwhelming, not because they can't keep up, but because they process life differently. They often think before they speak, feel deeply but express quietly, get tired in a world that never slows down. They're not distant, they're reflective. If you grew up in the 1980s, you probably learned to be strong. Before you learned how to talk about your feelings, you figured things out on your own. You didn't always feel understood, but you kept going anyway. And if you're the child of someone who grew up in the 1980s, you may have grown up with a parent who showed love through responsibility, not always through words. They might not say much, but they cared deeply. And everything they learned to survive, they passed down to you, quietly. People who grew up in the 1980s are a bridge between two worlds. They understand machines, but they also understand people. And if these stories bring you a sense of calm, recognition, or comfort, subscribe to the channel, not to watch more, but to have a place that's always here when you need to slow down.